T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Okay, well, I don't know what's going on with my computer. It just started the intro all over, but everybody could see me. But, here we are. Welcome to live podcasting, folks. Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad. Welcome to WWT Live. We got a lot to talk about. Sorry about yesterday. We had some technical all types of shenanigans happening yesterday, but we are here today. So let's get into it. Hey, Mr. Bonner, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I don't know what's going on. I just got a thing from Nikki saying something's going on, but we'll work with it. How's everything going?
Going okay. It's been a super busy day. How are you?
Good. Same thing. Super busy.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where, as a child, you finish school and you don't worry about anything. Or like in college, it's like, you know what, still on full ride, but we go to class in the morning and the rest of the day you party.
Right.
Yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah, I low-key miss them too, where you could just go home and watch cartoons when you're done with school and go out and play kickball if you feel like it, or that type of thing. But
now taxes and IRS and
exactly
business and more meetings. It never stops. It never stops. But anyways, that's a whole nother show. What do you got? What do you got going on?
Well, you're right. It never stops, and so is the world of pro wrestling, as we've learned certainly here in the last few weeks. So, somewhat light news to start the business. Now, we are used to hearing announcements about WrestleMania season. We're used to hearing that usually right around WrestleMania, but now they've made the announcement in a much different time. I think it was last year or the year before where they announced like 3 years of WrestleManias in a row. Well, now we're sitting here and we now know where WrestleMania 2024 is going to be. The historic 40th edition of WrestleMania is coming to the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it will be held at the Lincoln Financial Field. That's where, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles play, and we understand that kind of really helped in getting Philadelphia this opportunity. This is the first time that Mania will have been in Philadelphia since 1999. And that, of course, was WrestleMania 15, which was headlined by The Rock and Stone Cold, where Stone Cold became champion again. It was also the site of a very infamous Hell in a Cell match. It's one they don't really talk about a whole lot, with The Undertaker and the Big Boss Man, where he ended up hanging the Big Boss Man from the top of the cell. Didn't age well, didn't go over well then, but be that as it may, WrestleMania is returning to Philadelphia. Now, this is a really big deal because WrestleMania pulled in a ton of money in Dallas this year, somewhere to the tune of $206.5 million for the economic windfall of the Dallas region. So cities really do bid on WrestleMania because there's a lot of money that comes into the city. And now with Mania being a 2-day event and really an entire week, a week's long of events but associated with WrestleMania. And then, of course, there are the other indie promotions that come and do shows. So it ends up really being a big, big deal. So April the 6th and 7th, 2024, make plans to celebrate the 40th WrestleMania in Philly. Now, this is interesting to me because, of course, we know WrestleMania was born in New York City. WrestleMania 1 was there. WrestleMania 10 was there. WrestleMania 20 was there. 30, of course, made its way to New Orleans. 29 was in the New York regional area, was technically in New Jersey. So to some degree, it's a surprise that it didn't make it back to New York for WrestleMania 40. But I don't know that the WWE these days are as nostalgic about where WrestleMania is going to be versus what city's going to make more money for it.
Yeah, I feel like you're almost, you know, when I was running heavily into track, you follow those Olympic bids and the cities and all this other stuff. And, you know, I feel like WrestleMania is way more better in value than the Olympics, because the Olympics, you have to build all these things for all these sports, whereas WrestleMania is like, look, just bring us a stadium.
That's it.
We'll take care of the rest. So I think it's definitely beneficial. I don't know. I'm not much, ironically, I'm not much for crowds. So like, for instance, next year, it's going to be in LA, Hollywood, which is Inglewood. And, you know, we don't have much of a train system. There's a lot of things about LA that's very, I don't know how this is going to pan out. And, it's just, you know, we'll see what happens. I don't know. Do they usually announce it around this time? I feel like
they don't. That's what's so different about it.
A little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually during WrestleMania week that they'll announce the next year. And they really kind of changed that during the pandemic. Of course, the pandemic, where their initial plans for it to be in Tampa were changed because it ended up being in the Performance Center. And then the next year, when they brought it back to Tampa, they announced 3 consecutive years. So they announced that Tampa year, then they announced this year's Dallas, and they announced next year's SoFi. So it covered them for 3 years. And I guess because it was 3 years, it didn't dawn on me that it was almost time for another Mania announcement, since we've known really for the last couple of years where Mania would be. I am surprised that they've announced it this soon, but then again, they have started to put WrestleMania tickets on sale for SoFi, but not for Philly already, which makes sense. So yeah, I guess they're planning ahead. So shout out to Philly, which I'm not quite sure what Philly did to be able to land Mania, but shout out to them. That's a really big deal.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see when they put in their bids, because obviously Hollywood was supposed to happen because the pandemic kind of changed that. But yeah, I'd be curious to see when cities put in those bids, because I think Olympics is almost like a decade out, like eight years to a decade out to put in your bids to bid for the Olympics. I might be completely wrong, but it's some years. They have, once they get that bid, they have essentially 4 years to get the city ready. And some cities are worse than others. Oh my God, that Brazil one was crazy. But
Tokyo one was crazy too.
Yeah. It's so I think it's definitely beneficial, especially if everything that they're saying is that we might be headed into an economic downturn. Cities like this, well, not like this. LA has money to an extent. They can get that bump. So I'm looking forward to it. I was just weird. It was just weird by the timing of it all. It's like, can we get past SummerSlam? Like,
which again, I don't know if this is just let's get any other news out about WWE besides what's going on with Vince. So it could have been that. I don't know, but it's certainly a big deal. And again, if you think about, and someone's commenting about DC, I think that Northeast pocket is always very loyal to WWE for obvious reasons. And so the cool thing about Philly is it's a short drive from New York, from Jersey, from DC. I mean, so there are a lot of places that will have some fun with it. Now, I'm intrigued to see what the flights are going to be like for Philly. Because that's going to be something completely different. Personally, I'm still trying to figure out why it has not come back to Atlanta. We've got the massive Superdome now. That would be a great space. Of course, the airport is great. Plenty of things here to do in Atlanta. But I don't know if they've made the bid for it or not. So then there's that.
Well, it seems like Atlanta also has a lot going on too.
There is always a lot
Tyler
going
Perry
on.
Studios. You have it seems like the second kind of Hollywood. Like there's a lot of films being made there. So maybe they don't need the money. I don't know. I don't know.
Find. But if LA will take it, Atlanta should. We're a big wrestling town,
LA has been losing a lot of money. Like if you think of like LA being like a tinsel town, they've been losing a lot of different money because a lot of stuff is filmed other places. Like I have a friend who's a writer for The Flash. They film in Canada. So it's like a lot of stuff is filmed all over the place. And LA, I feel like for years has been losing money that way. But we'll see. However, we have somebody else, another host ready with some news for us.
Let's go.
This is gonna be quite interesting. We'll talk about it. But Blue is in. Wait, that's not Blue. That's Kane. My bad.
It's the other black guy. Other black guy. Black guy.
Wait, my bad. I was like, wait, I thought I saw Blue.
It's early for Kane.
I didn't read it. I know. Okay, well here we are. What you got, Kane? What you got for us?
I mean, I got the blues after misidentifying me, homie. Come on, we know each other. You know.
It's so funny because I looked at the screen and it was like when I don't pull people up, I didn't see the outline. So my deepest apologies. Kane has been a friend for forever and a day. So my deepest apologies. I know who Kane is.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you. Venmo at Kane McCoy. Feel free to shower me with money and love. What's up, everybody? Back today. We got everything handled. You know what I mean? I missed the beginning of the show. I was still rushing in. Thank you, Taekwon. I was rushing in, getting everything handled. We talked about everything. Had to get the car situation straight. So we all good with that. Everybody, I know everybody was concerned. Hey, do you know how I paid to get my rental car, TK?
How did you pay for your rental car?
I paid with insurance. I was covered by insurance. So
I was waiting for the card to flash.
I was concerned about insurance. And, insurance paid for the car, but I still had to pay for the deductible. And I paid for the deductible with my WWE Superstar credit card.
Somebody's gonna screenshot that.
I know. Someone's gonna get
that $25.
Yeah, I know. Get that $32 that you have. No, folks. Yesterday was WWE NXT. We are back and we are leading off to Heat Wave. I do thoroughly enjoy how NXT's kind of having these pay-per-views or these premium live events or just these live events on basic live events on basic cable on the USA network. And we're leading up to that. The show opens up with what we've been trying to figure out what's going on for the last 2 weeks. And that's what's happening between our BFFs, Team Forever 21, as I used to call them, Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. We opened up the show with Zoe Stark, excuse me. She made her return. She won the Battle Royal last week. I was all wrong with my predictions. I thought that Sonya Deville might come back and try to have some beef with Mandy, but Zoe made her special appearance, her special return, and she spoke about, you know, hey, I'm back here. I'm here to come after Mandy. Cora Jade and Toxic Attraction all came out, just massive heel levels. And we set something up that we still don't know what's happening, but she sent her goon, Mandy Rose sent her goon, Gigi Dolan, to handle her small work, her light work. And I thought that was a good opening. The match was a little short for me between Zoe and Gigi, but I get it with Zoe making her return. You don't want to have her in the ring too long. And Zoe gets the W, and she's going to go after Mandy. And then we got to figure out what's going on with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. But wait, Cora Jade pulled up on her, and then Roxanne also came out to kind of get some revenge. So I thought that was pretty dope on the women's side. Other than that, kind of show. You know, I thought the match between Apollo Crews and Zion Quinn was dope. I hope Apollo Crews is done with all of that. But I thought the match of the night was Giovanni Vinci and Andre Chase. And my man Andre Chase came out with the ones on, you know what I mean? He had a little alternate little outfit on. You know, I think Chase U can really blow up to something. They have the student section. I think it was the most like over gimmick that they have in NXT right now is Chase U, and that was dope. And then finally, I want to talk about my girl who we spoke about last week when Cora Jade trashed the title. I said, oh, she went very Alundra Blaze on us. Well, guess who happens to show up this week? Alundra Blaze herself, the Hall of Famer. She pulled up the titles and was like, we're gonna have a fatal four-way for this title. It's going to be Chance and Carter, Ivy Nile, and Tatum Paxley, who Tatum Paxley, I guess, is like Diamond Mine adjacent at the moment. Valentina Perez and Ulicia Leon, who we don't see enough on NXT, so obviously they're not going to win it. Wink, wink. And Toxic Attraction, who's looking to be 3-time champions, which is kind of like they can just be one. They could still be champions from even like not losing the title ever. Like their reign should be as long as Mandy Rose's reign, but they keep dropping and then winning, dropping in trash cans, and looks like they might win next week in the Fatal 4-Way. We saw NXT end with the parking lot, of course, a parking lot angle. There was no beatdown in the parking lot tonight, so I guess they got a parking lot attendant to stop all that. They found like security, but it's all Alundra Blaze holding the titles with Gigi and Toxic Attraction there, and Wade saying they're going to get their titles back. So we're going to see how this goes down next week.
Do you feel
overall good show?
Do you feel like they called Alundra Blaze? Like, did they know? Did they know that was going to happen? They were going to call Madusa. So, or do you think it was like people were calling for it, and then like they called Madusa in like a last minute? This makes sense,
right?
Thing.
So here's the thing. It's one of those, are we giving them too much credit or not enough credit? Because obviously we saw that they trashed its titles, and within that week of them trashing the titles, Vince retired. So who knows if Triple H pulled a hacksaw Jim Duggan and pulled the titles back out the trash can and was just like, we're going to resume these titles actually, and then we're also going to figure out what happens with the main roster women's titles. So I thought that was interesting. I was kind of like, that's almost too easy. That's like fantasy booking, if you will, that Alundra Blaze would be the one to get the titles out and announce a 4-way tag. But you know what? I'm just happy to see women's tag titles back on television, the NXT women's tag titles. Hopefully we can get the main roster titles. And hopefully we can also, while I'm at it, end this Braun Breaker JD McConnell thing. JD McConnell came out and, you know, was shaking. He bought an audience ticket, but entered via the employee entrance.
Right.
You know, we'll figure that out.
The security guard was watching outside, and he couldn't watch that part, so he just
he was making sure nobody got the fighting. Okay, that's right. Yeah, the parliament attendant.
Right,
he was like, I'm here to watch fights only, not people enter. But he was there and he was shaking hands with people in the audience and talking about popcorn and choking on popcorn. That was kind of weird. And he shook hands with the commentators. And then Braun Breaker came out. There was some headbutting, and that's going to lead to the main event in Heat Wave when Braun Breaker is going to obviously go over. But I'm a little concerned about Braun because it's called Heat Wave, yet Braun's kind of cooled off. Yeah. Just a little bit. Braun's cooled off a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying it's called Heat Wave. He's kind of cooled off. I feel like they had a chance to have him beat Ziggler and put the title in the middle of the ring or something and go to the main roster, but he's just kind of there and he goes through these random opponents like Joe Gacy. That happened. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say Joe Gacy and yawn at the same time. That wasn't my intention. But now he has this random thing with JD McConnell, who just comes from nowhere. You know, Jordan Devlin, who's now JD McConnell. So I'm a little worried about Brock's reign. Braun's reign, mini Brock, if you will. But what happened to Apollo Crews? He had the match with Apollo Crews, so we must be what's going on with that everything. So there we go. But NXT, can't wait for next week.
So, do we think that Triple H took over NXT? Because I know with Raw, they pretty much said that was kind of Vince's last hurrah. They may not have changed anything. Do you think that was the same thing with NXT?
I don't think we saw any of Triple H's fingerprints on there. It looks like it was still the Vince / Bruce / HBK NXT 2.0. But and my father, listen, not in America. All my kids not in America. I was in the Navy. So if you see any biracial soccer prospects in like 2 years, then sure, they're mine. But anywho, we'll bring them on the show one day. We have like a whole reunite episode. You know how I'm going to fly overseas to meet my kids? I'm going to fly overseas to meet my kids with my WWE. Anyway, but I think this was still HBK running NXT. We've heard nothing's changed with that. And we're going to see what happens with SmackDown this Friday. We'll see a little bit of Triple H on there. And we're going to talk about the SummerSlam card later in this show because there's been some changes. That's called a tease.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. Anything to add to NXT, or are we moving on to the next story?
Let's get the next story in here. Yeah, I think we hit everything. You saw it, obviously. Go into your Peacock account or read everything that's going on. But those are some of the highlights from the show. So we're very excited what happens next week. But I think we've gotten used to a lot of NXT 2.0. So I think we're going to slowly see them kind of revert back to black and gold because Triple H will take over it. It's not a matter of if, but when. Who knows if they'll get rid of all the colorful stuff, maybe keep the colorful stuff and just kind of, meet that medium back where we have actual that NXT feel, but I think there's been two things about NXT 2.0 that have been good. It's the fact that we are seeing more storyline based, which I feel does make it easier to consume. Sometimes with NXT, it just be like, here's wrestling, which can be good and bad. So if they could kind of find that median, because there's a lot of guys in the black and gold NXT who might not make it at NXT 2.0 because they didn't really have a character. The character was, I'm a wrestler. So, and there's a lot of people in 2.0 who make it in black and gold because they're just NIL recruits and former, football players and athletes. So if we could find that perfect sweet spot median, then I think NXT can go back to what it was and kind of be like that kind of third brand, not developmental, but go back to being a brand with some of the extra elements. So,
yeah, I feel hopefully they take away the university kind of, not take away, but they also include indie stars in kind of recruiting them to NXT as well. So we'll see what happens. But you did mention Madusa. So I did kind of want to touch into this story as well with NWA, which that's why I found it kind of interesting that, because, WWE doesn't really play friendly with a lot of different promotions. So we have Madusa, kind of the head of the women's division for NWA. So, I kind of found it interesting that we see her at NXT. And of course it's not, all the time, but WWE doesn't really play nice with other promotions. So anybody wants to take this story?
No, I think it's a very interesting story. Obviously, it's been a long time since we have seen any one person end up in multiple promotions in the same week or in the same 2 weeks. But we see that happening here with Madusa, which I think is pretty wild. Now, I also wonder if WWE even really considers the NWA competition based on the fact that the NWA isn't what it used to be, right? Like they don't have a TV deal. They're primarily airing either on YouTube or on Fight TV. And so because they don't have a formalized TV deal, be it cable or otherwise, I don't know that they're as concerned about Madusa. Plus, I think it's probably a one-off for her in NXT. The however in comma, though, is we also said that a couple of years ago about Wade Barrett, who had come over to do a guest commentary role and never left. So, you know, if I'm the NWA, I'm more worried about Madusa being on WWE television than the other way around.
Yeah, I think NWA kind of knows where it stands in the hierarchy of wrestling today. Obviously, NWA used to be a governing body. That's essentially what it was for most of its existence. And now it's a singular focused promotion. Madusa is the co-manager director of NWA. So she's done commentary. I think she's did it on the NWA women's event. She was there. And obviously she announced it on last night's episode. So she literally pulled a Rick Rude where she was on one company's televisions and another company's television the same night. Obviously, Empower was taped super early, but she announced that there will be an NWA Women's Television Championship. I don't know why they just want to call it like the Digital Media Championship, because it's like TV, wink, wink, kind of on TV. But I think it's dope that there could be a secondary women's championship in NWA. Obviously, everyone's battling Camille, the NWA's champion forever. She's such a badass. I really enjoy Camille. Taya's going to actually be taking on Camille at NWA 74. So it's going to be dope to see a lot of women's wrestling showcased on NWA and meaningful matches. You know, I think, you know, to have that TV title, that's going to be dope to have that women's TV title to go next to the men's TV championship. Who is that? Tyus, the former Brodus Clay. I think he's still champion over there. Yeah,
yeah.
Tyus,
it's so funny because Camille's going on 400 days of being champion. So Taya is going to be competing against her, or they're going to be going up against each other. So it's going to be interesting because Taya has several belts. And she's been like, she didn't miss a beat after she left WWE, which is a great thing. So I think maybe because of her name recognition across other brands and just her popularity in general, like I think she might be the one to take the belt. So we'll see what happens with that. And then with the TV championship, I feel the name is kind of, they could have thought of something else, but okay.
Yeah, like they can't call it like Digital Media, like they're gonna be buying Impact, but I thought Impact was really dope with that by calling it like the Digital Media Championship and kind of being that first company to like lean into it. So so that's really dope. That's really dope. So NWA 74, we're gonna see what goes down with that. Maybe Ric Flair might show up and have one last match there too.
Well, look, I'm concerned about Flair. The fact that he still has a pacemaker and he's getting in the ring. I mean, like, that's not brilliant at all. So I'm very concerned about the future of Ric Flair. We might see something very tragic happen this weekend, and I'm nervous about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. It's this weekend. It's already here. Nice.
No, I'm not. A pacemaker. You're 73 years old. Look, Triple H in his 50s said, I have a pacemaker. It's not smart for me to be in the ring. In his 50s. Ric Flair... The danger of Flair is going to keep pushing himself. He's going to keep pushing himself. And they've set this match up great. I mean, it's a tag match where you got three other guys who can really do a lot of work. Flair only needs to get in, do a woo, do a chop, you know, and let it be. But Flair is Flair. He still wants to bleed and do it. So I'm actually very nervous about this event on Sunday.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, he has a flair for the dramatic, so we gonna see.
That he does.
We gonna see it.
Ooh, well, now let's officially bring on Blue is in the building.
That's the real.
What's going on, guys? What up? What up?
How you doing?
Are we doing that thing?
Oh, Brady Bunch.
What do you got? What do you got for us today?
Hey, I thought I had it. So today I'm gonna talk about how Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, had a little interesting conversation when she brought up AJ Mendez, aka AJ Lee, where she said, "I would love to see AJ in the ring again. She did so much for women's wrestling, and I think there's so much more that she could do, even if she doesn't know that or is unaware of it. There's still so many girls that look up to her, myself included, but now I see myself on an even playing field as her. I feel like maybe I could be better than AJ, so let's get in the ring and see. I would love for her to come out of retirement. I would love for her to be in an AEW ring. I would love the possibility of a mixed tag match with her and her significant other against my significant other. I'm a huge fan of hers and would love to see her in the ring one day. But if that's not in the cards, she doesn't want to, I'm not going to force people to do what they do not want to do either. If she's at peace and happy with her career, then I'm happy for her as well, but I think she could do more." So that was an interesting comment that she made during her interview, where I guess she's pitching the idea for a dream match of hers against the one and only AJ Lee, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people would love to see. I'm not sure what's happening right now with Women of Wrestling. I know that they were supposed to. When was the announcement? Was it like late last year or early this year?
Yeah, they're filming. They're filming now. They're filming in Los Angeles at the Globe Theater. So they just had a filming, I think, last week, and I believe it's supposed to be airing out on CBS this fall.
Right, September.
So, yeah. So it is coming out. Yeah, everything is a go.
Yeah,
like on CBS.
Taped.
Yeah,
like CBS Viacom. Yeah. It's a big deal.
CBS. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm interested to see, like, and again, with the AEW so open to like having forbidden doors and things like that cracked open, it'll be interesting to see if we get that match as well. But she also made a comment about a recently released Paige, where she said, "I'm a huge fan of Paige. I love her. I love her mom. I've wrestled her mom before, actually. She's an incredible, inspirational female. That girl has gone through it all. Pardon my swearing, but she's a badass. She has that let everything roll off her back energy. You can't get to her. She holds her own head up high. Her in wrestling ring again. If not in that match, I would be ringside watching it because she was one of my favorites to watch." And of course, Paige agrees. Basically, responded to that comment, saying that she would love to be in the AEW ring as well. "Sign me up" is what Paige tweeted. "I love me some Britt Baker." So that's something to look at as well. Looking into the future of AEW's women division is possibly getting Paige, Saraya Paige. I'm not sure what she's going to go with after leaving WWE, but something along those lines is heading, I guess, that way. So it'll be interesting to see that matchup as well. I don't know how you guys.
Oh my God, Blue!
A Paige versus
Saraya Paige is actually a great name, homie. Let's add to the pages. Ethan Page, Big Man Adam Page, Saraya Page. Yes, let's do it. Yes, I love that.
They gotta come up with a faction called the Book.
Wow. I really need to download that.
Wow. What's the librarian's name that used to be the manager? Bring him back. Let him be the mouthpiece of the Book.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Dude, they can have the Book and be like, "Guess who's on today's page for an ass whooping or something."
Right.
Yeah, it can work. I see it. Tony Khan. I know you watch WWT Live. Book it, Tony. You effing Mark. I love that. I want to do that. But obviously, I think that there are some talks that have happened that we already don't know about, because Britt has now mentioned both Saraya and AJ Lee within a span of 2 weeks. So I think we're maybe having something happening here. Obviously, Saraya is, as I say, Paige has been WWE injured. You know what I mean? Right. It was. It's a good book to have. This table of contents. No, but I think that she's WWE injured, and we will see her wrestle again. You know, she's not even 30, Paige, yet, right? Yeah. We're just turning 30, so she still has a whole lot of career to go. She's had a lot of rest time. And as far as AJ Lee, I mean, AEW, just ask your world champion what she's doing. He might really know what's up with her, seeing how CM Punk's married to her.
Right.
Like, just be like, "Hey, you think your wife will be free? You think she might take a bump or two?" Like, and obviously, they could book her however she wants to be booked because, you know, she's AJ Lee, and again, she's the wife of the world champion. So I think it's dream booking. We all want to see if we can get a CM Punk AJ Lee versus, you know, unfortunately, it will be Adam Cole and Britt Baker, guys. I'm sorry. I know, but it's the power couple. It's going to be that. Yeah, well, I think it's a great thing. But you can already hear the moans of, oh no, Adam Cole and Britt Baker again. And it's like, hey man, listen, let's keep it 100. I know we enjoy Thunder Rosa, but title was hitting a little more when Britt Baker was champion. That's just
yeah. But
I like seeing Thunder Rosa wrestle, but it feels more with Britt Baker. She's money.
I don't know if you guys noticed it this past week. It was a situation where Britt Baker, Jade, CM Punk, I forgot who the other person was. It was on the couch and it was talking about certain things.
Orange Cassidy.
And, Orange Cassidy. So Britt Baker actually mentioned this to CM Punk. Like, me and my boyfriend versus you and your wife. He's like, let's go to the real question. When are you going to ask you to marry him? And everybody was just like,
Wow.
Yo, everybody just paused like,
I mean, look, bro, they're gonna. Hey, I feel like it's there. The AEW's not really hitting on what they could hit on, the potential of a dream match. Remember, we never saw CM Punk and AJ Lee team up in a mixed tag in WWE.
Right.
Sure. They had a little storyline here and there when AJ was kind of like going to the maniacal with Daniel Bryan and John Cena and whatnot. But we've never seen that before. And AJ Lee left WWE because she saw what was coming and she kind of accomplished everything she wanted to do in WWE. And there was no other company at the time for her to go to. But now the wrestling landscape has changed. And one thing about wrestling, you never say never. So I think a dream match would be CM Punk and AJ Lee teaming up to take on Cole and Britt Baker. And maybe Britt Baker is women's champion and there's everything on the line. So whoever wins will become both champions. So I think this dream scenario.
I think the key with that is to see how WoW plays out. If we see AJ in the capacity of in front of the television, because we know that she's doing the behind the scenes stuff, but we see her in front of the television at all, as far as with David McClain, and if you guys watch WoW, David's in everything. So if you see her in front of the television at all doing anything, and then if we see her wrestling at any capacity, then I think it might happen. But if we see her saying, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna do the behind the scene thing," maybe it's just she just does it. She's legitimately like, "Nah, I've been there, done that. I'm cool, just calling the shots." I feel like WoW is going to be a dictator as far as if we're going to see her again in the ring at all.
And speaking of the WoW piece, just think a little bit about Lucha from the perspective of the way WoW's contracts are. They're not exactly playing well with others right now. So that's going to be a whole nother ball game to consider, especially once their things air, because they want to make sure they protect the TV that they've taped. So, having someone on WoW TV turning up on AEW is not going to look good for WoW. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, but we always seen situations where wrestlers take the behind scene role, and after a while to get that bite again, to like that eagerness when they get back in the ring. Like, that person makes me they get that itch, like that person makes me want to go back in the ring. And she said that she's been watching AEW here and there since her husband's been there. So I'm pretty sure she's been intrigued with a couple of matchups on that side. So we never know.
we never know.
Dream matches, and again, we've never seen AJ Lee as technically a woman's championship or a women's championship. So I would love to see her. I know she was running with the Divas title and getting money with that, but I love to see her announce
anti-diva.
She was running as exactly. So I love to see her announced as a women's champion.
Are you staying with us, Blue, or you got them kids to feed?
You already know what time it is. You're on the East Coast. It's dinner time.
Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Blue Magic Grind, Spit High Sound, and also, as always, find me at For Your Wear, where you get some of your favorite podcast T-shirts, and I'm working to get some more. I work with these two gentlemen on my, in this case, he's on my left and top left. Also, follow me at the Mixed Tag Show with my co-host Jenna. We'll be back in September, and that's about it.
Definitely, yeah. You guys are hilarious. I can't wait for you guys to drop the show because. Ooh, the behind the scenes.
We need to start doing skits again. Like we used to do our skits, and they used to be like doing numbers. I miss doing the skits, but pandemic kind of slowed that down. But
Well,
we'll probably get back to
we're
that.
kind of out of the pandemic and into the monkeypox. I don't know. We'll see.
I know.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Keep
ooh,
going.
boy.
Keep going.
But thank you, Blue. We will see you
Thank
when
you
we
guys.
see
It was
you.
always
Thanks for the
fun.
story.
Oh,
All right.
Next time, hopefully I can stay longer. Get
Yeah.
these kids
No
on.
worries. Got them kids to feed.
All right, bye.
Hit him with the skin part, go to sleep.
Right.
It's abuse. That's abuse.
So we
Yeah.
have some Battle Slam news. So let's get into that.
Let's get into this. So the Jonathan Gresham saga continues, okay? So let's just kind of walk things back to almost a week ago. Jonathan Gresham defends the ROH championship, loses it to Claudio Castagnoli. We now find out that he has this massive fight with Tony Khan, asks for his release from AEW and Ring of Honor. Monday, we told you that he went and he deleted his Twitter account and then deleted the Twitter account for the promotion that he runs, which is Terminus. Well, what most may not know is that Terminus and Battle Slam are literally like sister or brother promotions. So that made things interesting because Battle Slam is scheduled to happen tomorrow. Well, late news last night drops that Battle Slam has a new date. The new date will be Sunday, August the 7th, instead of tomorrow. Same location, same main event of Little Scrappy against Baron Black. But there is one major difference. Originally scheduled on this card was Jonathan Gresham taking on Kevin Knight from New Japan. That has been changed. Jonathan Gresham is no longer on the card. Taking his place is Anthony Ogogo, who will be taking on Kevin Knight. And while that should be a fun match, kind of the headline here is, has Jonathan Gresham officially left the wrestling business? The idea that he would delete his Twitter on his own promotion, and then I can't give all the details, but the date was moved and there's a connection. That's all I can say. So
wait.
things are getting...
So do you know, like, I mean, just because you can't say, do you know, do you know what's happening behind the scenes?
I have a strong inkling.
Okay. All right.
I have a very strong inkling. And again, for obvious reasons, I can only say so much. But what I can say is I'm concerned about where Jonathan Gresham is in all of this, because most may not realize he's actually also scheduled to be on the Ric Flair's last match card this weekend. So this is all very interesting. Very, very interesting. Lots of moving parts. Not sure if Gresham will be there with Flair this weekend. I for sure thought if Gresham would be anywhere, he'd be at Battle Slam. But with him not being at Battle Slam, now I'm really wondering, what's up? Have we really seen the last of Jonathan Gresham for the foreseeable future in the wrestling industry? The fact that this major change has happened with Battle Slam is a strong indicator.
Yeah, that date changes.
Now, mind you, and we all know this, a date change 2 days before the event is almost unheard of.
Right.
It's almost unheard of. So for those who are looking to be at Battle Slam, again, it is now moved to Sunday, August the 7th, 8 p.m. It should be a phenomenal card. But one thing that will be missing is Jonathan Gresham, who again was scheduled to be on the card, but will not be there. And as far as I know, just looking at the talent roster, he's probably the only one that won't be there that was originally set for this card.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's a major
first of all,
development.
I mean, two things. Anthony Ogogo, wake me up before you Ogogo. Yeah. For him to be brought on the card, Anthony Ogogo, and for Anthony Ogogo to be the wrestler to replace Jonathan Gresham is kind of like a little bit of like bittersweet symphony. If you followed the interwebs, the wrestling Twitter of what has gone down between Anthony Ogogo, Jonathan Gresham, and Jordan Grace. So I've kind of noticed that as soon as I saw Anthony Ogogo was replacing Jonathan Gresham, I was like, ooh, that kind of I guess, puts a point in Ogogo's basket, if you will. And then Baron Black. I wonder if Baron Black was like, you know what? I might be a little petty with this and just book Ogogo. Remember, Terminus is ran by both Gresham and Baron Black. So I'm a little bit interested to see. Obviously, Jonathan Gresham had the Twitter login. And was able to log in and deactivate the account. So we're going to see if there's also some bubbling behind the scenes between Gresham and Baron Black as well. You know, this isn't a Terminus card, but they both run Terminus, and their Twitter's account has been deleted. So it's a lot going on. You know, you really hate to see it because Jonathan Gresham is a phenomenal wrestler, and for him to be the unique wrestler that he is, that's always been doubted for his size, or he may not be this or may not be that. For him to finally get his shot at a national television audience, at a worldwide audience based in America, and to see how he went out, I could understand a little bit of that frustration where he's worked his entire life for this moment. And the moment he shows up on TNT, he's in some weird tag match where he just leaves and turns on Lee Moriarty to align himself with Tully Blanchard Enterprises. That's done. All of a sudden, Tully's gone. And then he has a random match, and then he does Dark without the title. That means you're dropping the Claudio at Death Before Dishonor. Then you show up at Death Before Dishonor without your octopus on, and you just show up and drop in 8 minutes. So it's kind of like, that's a lot for somebody who's battled and climbed for so long. And the moment you get that opportunity, everything's just taken away. So hopefully Jonathan Gresham can, you know, overcome the mental obstacles, the hurdles, because I think the brother's talented. And I think when, you know, blessings come when you least expect it. And as I've said yesterday or on Monday, he's the perfect guy for Triple H. He's the perfect guy for Triple H's NXT. So hopefully he get a shot.
You know, and again, right now, not knowing whether he's even interested in being in the business right now adds a completely different, like, again, everything that you itemized, it's perfectly understandable, the frustration that Jonathan Gresham has. And I don't know if Gresham had ever expressed any interest in WWE or not. And so, again, my thought is, if you get to build something yourself, you can create the type of thing that you believe should be out there. But if he's so frustrated that he will take his own creation and say, I don't want anything to do with it, that's wild. I saw Nikki had a question about Anthony Ogogo and the last show. No specific reason that I know of why he wasn't on the last show, but I do know they did have some last minute changes with a few of the people that were there. And really these days I'm finding, certainly I've seen it with Southern Honor and other places, it's the nature of the business now, where literally something can happen at the last minute, be it COVID, travel, or what have you, that could cause someone not to be there. So I don't have the exact story on Anthony Ogogo, but him being here will be very, very interesting. I haven't seen him in quite some time, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him. And I'm just going to be very interested to see how things are going to be in the next week or so. But the Battle Slam environment is usually a lot of fun. If you've never been, you should come out. It's a great environment. And I'm just really interested to see what's going to happen on August the 7th.
Yeah, so we're gonna see if we get a shoot promo. If Ogogo does a shoot promo on Jonathan Gresham, then we'll see.
Or even if there'll be any mention, like there may not even need to be a mention of Gresham in that space. And here's what's interesting: Gresham had not been a part of any of the previous Battle Slam cards, so it was kind of cool to see him originally slated for this particular card. So a lot obviously has happened. And again, the fact that it changed dates is massive.
So I was just checking Jordan Grace's Twitter account. And so she hasn't posted since, because I believe ROH was on the 23rd. And they posted a picture together, or she posted a picture of him at the gym. And she hasn't posted since. So yeah, it's if he needs a break, I get it. I don't understand why you would delete the Terminus account. Just delete your personal account and just leave Terminus, like you just don't check it. But I don't know. You're gonna have to let us know what goes down with all this all this stuff, and he doesn't feel like talking. And the thing is, he's asked for the release, but has the release happened?
Been granted. Well, and that's the thing. MJF asked for his release. I don't believe that that's been granted yet. So there's a whole nother conversation to be had in terms of why hold people in contracts if they don't want to be used, and then there's no intention of using them. Right. I don't know what one gains from that, especially given how currently top heavy AEW is at the moment anyway. So I don't know.
So Nikki's saying that she's posted on Instagram. I was referring to Twitter. On Instagram, let's see. She did post. Oh, she did post her and her husband on Instagram a day ago. So people are supporting. I guess he just
John Gresham
anymore. Yeah, Jordan Grace posted a picture of both of them on Instagram.
Nice.
So
nice.
that was
good.
That was a day ago. So
yeah, 2 days ago. Interesting.
Support your man, girl.
Whoa, now the caption is interesting. The caption says, "You immediately become happier when you stop accepting the bare minimum because that's what others think you deserve. Realize that not all storms come to disrupt your path, but clear it, and understand that not everyone will see your vision and know that's okay." These cryptic posts and captions are very intriguing to me. And so I think this is one of those cases where she just said a whole lot. And there's a picture of him and her, and as you can see, he is smiling. So who knows? Who knows?
If he's happy, she's happy, they all getting money. Hey, we'll wait to hear the story, or we'll never hear the story. It is Nikki says they should start an OnlyFans. Hey, who knows if they already have it?
That literally was what I was about to say. I was like, if
she has one, but I don't know if they have one together.
Yeah, exactly. It's like softer stuff. But if we go like, $49.99, premium, that's a premium live event, WWE.
Wow. Last story. Roman Reigns coming up to SummerSlam. Apparently Roman is hoping this is the last run-in with Brock. What do you guys think of this statement that he made?
I mean, Roman, we do too. We also hope that this is the last time you run into Brock Lesnar. We thought the last time was the last time, but obviously Cody Rhodes' injury has most likely Ric Flair last matched us, so we had to put this together at the last minute. So hopefully this is Roman coming out with a little bit of a shoot, a little hazy, saying, "Hey guys, we get it too. This was last minute. We had to put something together. Enjoy the match. I'm back from the summer vacation. I'm here."
I'm with you. I think Brock Lesnar's return to SmackDown was probably the one thing that nobody really wanted. Again, given the WrestleMania match was hyped as the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. And so after that, there really wasn't much more that needed to be said. So even his return was kind of anticlimactic. Like, okay, what else is there left to do? And then the whole drama last Friday with, am I walking out? Am I not? Clearly somebody got him back. I can't imagine that Brock Lesnar has any realistic chance of winning Saturday night. And with that said, I hope that there are some more opportunities created for Roman Reigns. I am a fan of what Roman's doing at this point. And again, I don't know what they're going to have to do to get us interested in this match for Saturday. So I am with you, Roman. I hope that this
Roman's going to drop.
Here's what's complicated, and I don't want to jump ahead, but with this whole change happening with Seth Rollins and Riddle now being out and their match being canceled, there are some folks that are thinking somehow Seth could be inserted into this title picture somehow, some way. And if you do, you've got a technical rematch of WrestleMania 31, which now you know, perhaps there's some intrigue to this. I don't know. The thing is, never say never. This whole thing becomes very unpredictable. I just think about the day one pay-per-view where we find out day of, all of a sudden, Roman has COVID, Brock gets thrown in this other match, and then boom, Brock's the champ. So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be very unpredictable.
Yeah, I kind of appreciate a little bit of the chaos, actually. Of course, it came out this morning that Riddle had an injury. We don't know if that's kayfabe or not. Most likely, Rollins and Riddle will be moved to Clash of the Castle. But it's kind of like no one's like, oh, man, I can't wait for it to happen at Clash of the Castle. We were kind of waiting for it to just end here and, you know, call it that. Seth Rollins actually had a very interesting tweet today. He did tweet about it. He spoke about it, saying that for anyone who purchased a ticket to SummerSlam, hoping to see me in action, I apologize. I did everything I could over the last 6 months to earn my spot on the show, but some things are out of my control. Thank you for always singing my song. They'll hear you someday. Is he saying that corporate's kind of like, we don't know if we can work with this, or, you know, Seth is kind of in this position for now. For him to say they'll hear you, Seth is kind of implying that, hey, creative, listen to the fans. They kind of want to see Seth freaking Rollins here. So that's going to be interesting. I think we've had enough of the Seth versus the mystery surprise opponent. Some people have been clamoring for Gargano to come back at SummerSlam. Now that Triple H is running things, this will be his first premium live event with him running it. So we're going to see what goes down with that. But I think that, as I've thought all along, my theory is that Theory is going to walk out of SummerSlam as the undisputed WWE Universal World Heavyweight Champion. Everyone calls it a different name. I will too. Because, again, what better way to get heat on Theory as the Vince guy? We saw him on Monday Night Raw. Roman told him, your daddy's not here no more, and everyone's laughing at him. Who's your daddy? Theory was on TV for damn near an hour on Monday Night Raw. He opened Raw. It was pretty much on Raw for almost an hour. Brock and Roman knock each other out. Theory runs down the ring. Brock and Roman are knocked out. He runs down the ring in the middle of the count at like 7, turns in the briefcase, and just stands there and wins the triple threat last man standing match. That's a wild theory, but I think that it's so wild that it can happen, I feel like, because can Brock afford another loss to Roman? Which sounds crazy to say, but it's kind of like, why are you bringing Brock back to lose?
Right.
So what better way to not have him lose the luster than some type of dusty finish or DQ, something where Roman, you know what I mean, also doesn't take the pin. Neither person takes the pin. Now, I did see that with the Usos and with Theory beefing, but you got the Street Profits to worry about. So the Street Profits could be taking care of the Usos, even though they aren't on Theory's side. They got their own beef. So I kind of like that, even though the card isn't as palatable yet. We're going to have to watch Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to need at least one surprise. And I reference it back to, I mean, Becky doing what she did that we're all very pissed off at. But we still remember it.
But still remember.
It's still like, I was actually there for SummerSlam, and I couldn't, other than Tiffany Haddish flubbing on some random thing, everything else was just like whatever. But that is going to be, so I feel like if WWE could pull out something, because the card is, we discussed this last week, the card is okay. So they need to have at least one surprise. And I agree, Brock, like the Brock Roman thing is kind of tired. And then why would they bring Brock back to lose again? Because then it takes away from his, you know,
his luster.
Beasts. Right. So it's just kind of
like last time we saw Brock, he lost.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever seen Brock come back twice to lose.
Right.
You know, last big match he won was day 1. That's the last big match he won.
Or maybe he just doesn't show
up.
Well,
he won Elimination Chamber too.
Elimination Chamber. Yeah, that's right. To win the title. That's right. Because he won it, and then lost it to Lashley, and then won it again, and then dropped it at Mania. Hot potato.
That's a lot.
Thanks for that. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And so allegedly he did say that, JD. So
yeah, so part of me wonders if merely he's just fulfilling this contractual obligation, and then after that he's done. You know, so here's the cool part. The cool part is there are so many elements that we cannot predict, that it makes it something you have to watch. And for whatever reason, when WWE has these pay-per-view cards that look really horrible on paper, they end up somehow being great. So they've got something up their sleeve, and they know that people are going to be paying attention. So I think this is going to be must-see TV.
It is definitely. Let's pray for the show in itself. But with that being said, we are wrapping up. We'll definitely go through a little bit of the SummerSlam predictions tomorrow, and we'll see. I was thinking about doing a SummerSlam watch along, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Something will come down the pipe. Other than that, Mr. Bonner, where could everybody find you?
You can find me at Bonnerfied. You can check out the podcast at The Faction Show. Southern Honor Wrestling is happening. You can check out our latest shows on IWTV. And then we have another big show coming up August the 5th. It's our Rumble Jack show. And then 2 days later, August the 7th, is Battle Slam. I'll be doing commentary. August is going to be actually a pretty busy month. Then there's another show that I'm doing on the 14th of August, a new promotion called District Championship Wrestling, which features a lot of the folks from the Nightmare Factory. That's coming. And then I'm hearing, and I'll just tell you guys this now, I'm hearing that one of the things that the Nightmare Factory does is every class that graduates, they have a whole card that they do, and they release that on YouTube. Well, actually, I got to call some of that card. And so that will be releasing sometime soon. So I'll let you guys know when that is. So you'll be able to hear me a lot in August. So looking forward to that.
And
can't wait, man.
McCoy.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
it. That's a very busy month of August, dog. Like, that's a super month. Sounds like you don't have much room for anything else. You don't have much room for anything else because
I see what you did there.
Hey, man.
I see.
I apologize to everybody who saw that. You can get that and more on my Twitter feed, my Instagram. I'm at Kane McCoy, CainMcCoy, and listen to me here if you're in LA. Or stream me on Power 106, man. Sundays 10 to 2 or whenever. KD 2.
Over and ever.
Yeah. Like I'll be forgetting to plug that I'm on the radio and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully more soon.
Dope.
Hopefully more for it. We'll see what happens next week with some major announcements coming down for Kane McCoy.
Okay.
We're putting it on there, but also too, we will have a SummerSlam post show. Nikki and Santana will be doing that. JD wants to know your billing zip code.
Thank God that's not on here. I'm just like, how did I do that? We'll figure it out. Just try a bunch of numbers, see what happens.
Oh boy,
there it is.
Let's see how the security protection works.
Also, too, just definitely go and check out our website, www.talkpod.com. We have a lot of articles. Santana wrote the Madusa article, so definitely go and check that out. Check us out on all social media platforms, www.talkpod. We'll be back tomorrow at 3:00 Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We have this week has been like Monday was crazy, then it was kind of slow. Now, so I don't know. Like I remember when we used to do news for wrestling, it was fairly consistent. You got a few, but now it's like you just don't know what to expect every day. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Other than that, you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Thank you guys for watching Women's Wrestling Talk. Thank you for watching WWT Live, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.